Before I get started, this is your spoiler warning for The Bad Batch Season 3, Episode 14. You have been warned. Okay, I waited a little bit of time before making this review of the episode because sometimes you just need to let these things marinate. And that's exactly what I did. Now, before I go on, I do want to say that this is going to seem a little bit negative, but it's not. I'm not negative toward The Bad Batch. I'm not negative towards Star Wars at all. There's just some things in it that I think could have been a little bit better. Overall, I think the episode was great. Episode 14 of The Bad Batch Season 3 was among one of my favorites. But we'll get into that in just a moment. Before we do, here's a word from our sponsor. And that sponsor is, yeah, you guessed it, it's me. Hit the subscribe button, like the video, and leave a comment down below as to what you thought of the Bad Batch Season 3 Episode 14. I'd like to hear from you. And if you'd like to be a sponsor of this channel, just leave a comment and say, I want to be a sponsor. And that's all it takes. You don't have to buy me anything or take any money from me or give me any money. Just say you want to be a sponsor because you like the channel and you like Star Wars. Now, let's get on with it. Now, what I'd like to do is first, I want to get the negatives out of the way. And they're not really negatives. They're just little nitpicks that I'm having with the episode. And it's nothing really major. Like I said before, I love the show. And then this is one of my favorite episodes of The Bad Batch so far. So let's get on with that. First, episode 14 didn't really belong here. Not that I feel. And I haven't seen episode 15 yet. None of us have. So we will find out after that one if this episode does belong here. I feel like this episode belonged about 3 episodes ago where we could get a bigger build up to the ending through the next episodes until the finale. Yes, this is the last of the seasons of The Bad Batch. So there's so much to wrap up in it. And I thought this episode just felt a little out of order from the others. Now, I do think the episode did inch us along to the finale and some kind of conclusion, but it still has a lot of open sores that need to heal. And I think one more 25-minute episode isn't going to cut it. That next episode to give me everything I want, which doesn't amount to a hill of beans because I'm just a guy and I can't expect them to make what I want anyway. Hint to other people, not you. But other people. But anyways, so I think the next episode will have to be an hour and a half just to wrap up a lot of loose ends. Yes, that's just me though. They could do it in a creative way that makes me rethink that and I can come back and say, okay, I was wrong, and I will. But I think this just inched us toward the ending and it needed to be a bit longer and have a little bit more in it just to get us to where we need to be for the finale. But let's move on to some of the positives, and this one could also be a negative depending on how the finale of The Bad Batch Season 3 goes, and that is the Zillo Beast. We're all excited to see that guy again, or girl. I'm not going to assume it's gender because I'm not like that. But anyways, we're excited to see it again. This is something that's been going on for over a decade that we've been waiting to see the conclusion of this Zillo Beast. Now, it's assumed that Omega is going to use the Zillo Beast to try to help her and the other captive children escape Mount Tantus. But what if that doesn't happen? Well, then it becomes a disappointment, and we have to wait for the next show or the one after that to wrap up the conclusion of the Zillo Beast. I'd rather it just be finished off now, not finished off as in taken care of, you know what I mean? I mean, the story arc finished off, yeah. By the way, the Zillo Beast has been in the possession of the Empire for what, 2 years at this point? 2 Star Wars years, or, you know, however many rotations that is. But it's been in their possession for that long. Why are they still tasing it? Why? I mean, it didn't really show any reason why they were zapping the poor thing other than just to torment it. Unless it's just to show us, you know, this is how evil the Empire is. They've had this thing for 2 years and they're still tasing it. I don't know. That just seemed a little weird, but it was just a minor scene, so it didn't ruin everything for me. But there is a bigger positive in this whole thing, and that is the character of Omega. She's gone from being this victimized child into a leader. she's leading these children. And by her saying, look, guys, you need to cover for me while I'm gone, trying to figure out a way to escape, figure it out. It's telling them, work together as a unit, and we can get out of this. Quit being victims. Let's be headstrong and be militaristic and do it. Now, maybe militaristic isn't the right word for it, but she is being trained and raised by her brothers who were of the Republic military, who are also military mindset and have taught her how to think on her toes. So it's only natural that she does develop some of those skills naturally, my guy. And I think Omega's development is going to lead into something else if they do develop more series from the Bad Batch. Not necessarily called the Bad Batch, but called something else. Like, I don't know, the Journeys of Omega or something. That's just my silly idea. But anyways, Omega is going to be the star of that. And she's going to be centered in that. Unless everybody dies at the end of the series, in which case, then I will come back and say I was wrong. Now, another positive of this episode was showing more development of the character of Crosshair. Yes, I know, we knew he had turned good and had joined his brothers of the Bad Batch and turned his life around and all that good poop. But he actually comes out and says it to Rampart. And Rampart's in denial because Rampart cannot change. And I said this a couple episodes ago that you can't trust Rampart. Give him a couple inches and he's going to stab you in the back. That's a couple inches of knife blade or fiber blade, whatever you want to call it. And being that he is now captured by the Empire, I see that becoming a bargaining chip for him. Hey, I know where the Bad Batch are going. I know they're going to try to save Omega and you need to lock her down. And then they kill him anyway because Hemlock is a weirdo. Very creepy guy, that Hemlock. I'd actually like the guy if he weren't abducting children like a Jedi Order. Oops, too soon? Nah, it's not saying that I idolize Hemlock in any way. I just tend to draw toward the weirder characters, and he's definitely weird. Yeah, we'll go with weird, not creepy. He's weird. He's a scientist. They deal in numbers and stuff, so yeah, he's a weirdo. But that isn't all that makes him a weirdo. I mean, that whole abducting children thing is a pretty big deal. Bigger than any other deal the guy's got going for him, even his weird, creepy voice. Anyways, let's move on. But there are 3 different possibilities that I see the Bad Batch ending with in the season finale or series finale. And the first one is that her brothers make it to her before she tries her escape attempt. The second is that Echo and Emery find her and help her out before the Bad Batch gets to her or before she finds her escape attempt. And the third conclusion that could be possible is that she and the other children escape through that tiny little hole where those weird glowy lights are shifting around, and they all find the Zillo Beast and ride the Zillo Beast out into the sunset, leaving her brothers, the Bad Batch, and Echo, and whoever else is trying to help Emery, leaving them behind to probably not succeed very well. So that would be the ending where everybody is eliminated. And then I don't know which ending I'd rather see. I don't want to say I want to see people die. That's just weird. But I do want to see some kind of emotional conclusion that's going to end this series properly and tell us why these guys were not in Rebels. Well, the galaxy's big, so maybe they went into hiding. Maybe they just decided to retire and didn't want to do anything else. Doesn't mean they had to die. Now, that's about all I have for this episode of The Bad Batch Season 3. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you love it? I'm giving it about a 7.5 out of 10. And that's probably being a little too critical. It probably deserves around an 8. But that's my ranking. Let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear from you. And one more word from our sponsor, and that sponsor is, yours truly, me. Hit the subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment. I'd like to hear from you. And this is Gerald, a Star Wars fanatic, signing off, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Thank you all for watching, and remember, this is the way. And positivity in Star Wars is the only way.